How's it going out there, music maker? My name's Griffin, and in today's lesson I'm going to be showing you a neat exercise that's going to help you learn all of the notes on the fingerboard of the guitar. In my opinion, this is one of the most important skills that every guitar player should visit at some point in their guitar playing career. You may be wondering why it's relevant to know the note names. You know, you're just like, Hayes, I just want to play tunes. I don't care about the note names, any of this kind of stuff. But I'll tell you this. A little bit of music theory goes a long way when it comes to playing music, and learning something like this helps you communicate with other musicians. It helps you understand the systems that are at play behind all of the tablature and sheet music that you're looking at in your daily life. There are just so many things that learning the notes on your fingerboard can help. I can't even name them all in this lesson. So this is definitely an essential skill, and I'm going to give you some quick tips here today for how to take one note. I'm going to show you where C note is on every single string on the guitar, and then give you the system to figure out the rest of them, okay? Let's buckle up and dive in. Before we go ahead and check out this exercise, if you haven't had a chance, hit that subscribe button below and the bell notification button. That way you'll get notified when we upload new video lessons here to the Mandolin Secrets channel. Also, if you're interested in PDFs of the tablature and sheet music to this lesson, as well as things like backing tracks and access to our community of guitar players and mandolin players just like you, check out that link below in the description to the Mandolin Secrets Guitar Club. There you're going to find everything you need to know about all of those goodies I just described. All right, my friend, let's dive into this one. So, full disclosure, before we talk about this lesson, I stole this exercise from my buddy and co-instructor here at Mandolin Secrets, Magnus. He did a great lesson on this for mandolin players a while back, and I think that this is something that guitar players need to steal and maybe think about so that we can become more fluent musicians. So, if you don't know how the system of tuning and frets are organized on the guitar, let's kind of start with that, because that's real basic information you're going to need to know to take this exercise and figure out all the notes on the guitar. So probably at this point you know the names of your strings, and if not, let's review those. So starting with the high string, we've got E, B, G, D, A, E. My first guitar teacher loved to come up with acronyms and things like that, so it was Every Boy Goes Down an Elevator. But I'll let you come up with your own. That one's still, it's kind of lame by today's standards, right? So drop me a comment below and let me know if you've got a better acronym for the names of the strings on the guitar. So let's kind of just start with one string. How about that low E string, right? Now, each fret on the guitar represents what we call a half step. So the way that music alphabet works, we have a series of half steps, and pitches are kind of named based upon the alphabet using sharps and flats between them, right? So you're probably familiar with the terms like E, F, F sharp, G, A flat, or G sharp, we can call that one, right? So if you're not familiar with that, I would go look up kind of the chromatic scale. That's the name of what we're talking about here. So today we're going to kind of be manipulating some of the rules of the chromatic scale to help us figure out where the notes are on the guitar. If you've got a copy of the chromatic scale, then you'll know that if you walk up from E, it's going to take you a minute to find a C note. But let's kind of demonstrate that here in the video just to see how that works. So we've got E. The next note in the chromatic scale is F, and I'm just going to use sharps to keep things simple here today. So we've got F sharp after that, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then there's no B sharp. Right after B is C. So there's our first C note, all the way up on the 8th fret of the acoustic guitar. And the electric guitar too. So you'll notice I'm not getting into position playing or anything here. We're just going to use our pointer finger to find all of these notes. Good technique isn't the point of this exercise. It's more of a mental concept and a map that we're trying to draw on the fingerboard here. So there's that C note. Now, I said we're going to find all the C notes on all the strings, right? So if we go up to that next string, we know that's called an A, right? So what comes after A? A sharp, B, C. There it is. We get to that one a little quicker, right? So without kind of spelling it out on the rest of the strings, I'm just going to show you where all the C notes are, and then you can kind of reverse engineer it yourself. So we've got 8th fret of the E string, that's a C note. 3rd fret of the A string, that's also a C note. Then we go all the way up. 10th fret on the D string, that's a C note. 5th fret of the G, that's a C note. 1st fret of the B, that's a C note, so we get a pretty easy one there, right? And then, just like your low E string, that 8th fret, we're going to have 8th fret of the high E. That's also a C note. So, speaking only in fret numbers now, we've got 8, 3, 10, 5, 1, 8. Now you're probably like, oh my gosh, that's a heck of a lot of numbers you're throwing at me, Hayes, and how am I ever going to memorize this? One note at a time. That's how you're going to memorize this. Don't try and ingest too much information when you're diving into lessons and concepts like this. I feel like with this kind of digital age and the age of information, we're used to really quick results on things. And unfortunately, some things are just still best learned the slow way. And this is one of those things. So definitely take this slow and learn. If you can't memorize where that 8th fret is, that C note on the low E string yet, stick with that one. All right? And then once you get that one down, try and find the one on your A string and just bounce back and forth between these two. One thing that Magnus uses in his version of the note name fixer that I think is genius is to kind of make this a little more musical. Instead of just playing single notes on our strings and trying to memorize them, how do we turn, a single note into something a little more musical? We add rhythm to it. So I'm going to steal Magnus's rhythm too. I really love this. So if we're kind of counting along, a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So you can use all downstrokes for that. Just keep it simple, right? And then what I like to do, play it 4 times maybe on a string just to get comfortable, then move up to the next one. So let's see if you can keep up with me and find all of those C notes that we found a minute ago, all right? I'm going to play each one, that rhythmic pattern, 4 times on each string. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. You keeping up with me? Get ready, here we go. Two, three, 4. 2, ready, go. So you get the idea. That's how I like to go through all of my strings. And as you get more comfortable with each of these, you don't have to do the rhythmic pattern 4 times. You can just skip through them. And what goes up must come down. Start on the high string and go down. So you get the idea there. Now, one thing that we're going to need to keep in mind as we get better at this exercise, is that we're going to memorize where all the C notes are. And then it's going to get kind of boring and become rote. So what we need to do after that, I like to use the circle of fifths to kind of guide me through which pitches to play next. And there's a real common thing that a lot of musicians do with the circle of fifths. They back cycle through the circle of fifths. They move counterclockwise through the circle of fifths. That gives us like really pleasing resolutions. And that's a lesson for another time why that's the case. But just know that if you move backwards through the circle of fifths, it's going to sound really nice. So one thing that I kind of forgot to mention here is that you should be naming out loud that note every time you're playing it. So for this exercise, you can go C, 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 etc. Then when it's time to move, the next pitch around the circle of fifths would be F. So let's find an F note on that low E string. We've got E, F. Oh, there it is, right? So then we need to find all the F notes on all of our strings. And I'm leaving that to you, all right? But I'll show you kind of how I would do all the C notes. I'm going to do all the C notes up, and then I'm going to come back down to that F note on my low E string, and then do all of the F notes. So let me get a metronome kind of going here so I don't have to count the whole time. And then you'll know exactly what I'm doing. How about 160? Here we go. So C notes first and then F. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, ready, go. C, 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 C. F next. F. 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 What's after F in the circle of fifths? B flat. 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 So you get the idea now. And I'm sure this is overwhelming to you if you haven't had any experience with fingerboard mapping before, but this can be kind of like a fun little game to play, maybe at the beginning of each practice session. I like to do this kind of workout before I dive into repertoire and stuff, because I've noticed that it kind of helps me recognize the notes that are kind of floating underneath of my fingers when I'm playing fiddle tunes or jazz tunes or anything. I can promise you, you're never going to look at chords or melodies or anything the same way again if you do the note name fixer exercise. Now, the key for practicing this one is to do it every day in short bursts. Don't do this for like 2 hours. You're gonna turn your brain into mush. Do it for maybe 10 minutes a day, and maybe try one pitch at a time. Like I said, if you can't move from one string to the next, just focus on those two strings, and then add a third string, and a fourth, fifth, and a sixth. Then once you memorize all of your C notes, move on to F. Take that one string at a time. Then put C and F together. Then move on to B flat, one string at a time. Put C, F, B flat together, etc. So this may seem kind of like a confusing exercise, like I said, if you haven't done this before, but I promise if you take it real slow steps, one step at a time, this is going to completely change your worldview and how you look at the guitar. It's really a beautiful thing. All right, my friend, that is enough on the note name fixer, Magnus Zetterlund's signature fingerboard mapping exercise. I really hope you've enjoyed this one. And if this is your first time kind of trying anything out like this, leave us a comment down below and let us know what you find most challenging about this, okay? I'm really interested to see what that's kind of like for all of you viewers out there. All right, my friend, I hope you get a lot of mileage out of this exercise, and thanks so much for tuning into this lesson. We'll catch you in the next video, okay?